Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're live. We are live. Hello. I am Matt from MyMiniFactory. I am joined by Nebo,
From also
also
MyMiniFactory.
from MyMiniFactory,
Yeah.
and Tuomas from. Well, you can say who you are and where you're from. Introduce
Okay,
yourself.
I'll try to keep it short.
Yeah.
So I'm Tuomas Pirinen. I'm game designer. Currently, I run my own company called Factory Fortress. But before that, tabletop players might know me from my work at Games Workshop with Warhammer 6th Edition, Mordheim, Realm of Chaos, and many other books. Video game fans might know me from my work at Ubisoft, EA, PlayStation. I worked on a lot of games from the Driver to Need for Speed to Medal of Honor. And the latest, a game I worked on that's just about to come out, Saros on PlayStation 5 from Housemarque. So I've been around the block a lot. I've been a game designer for almost 30 years now.
Wow.
And you're Finnish, right?
I am from Finland, indeed.
Yeah, you said something by your name. It's some sort of use it as a code word. How do you pronounce your name?
It would be Tuomas Pirinen, but the problem there is that the Finnish is known language so difficult that even J.R.R. Tolkien, who was probably the finest linguistic of his generation, who loved Finnish language, tried to learn it and gave up.
And Finland has a pretty strong gaming culture as well, right?
Oh yes, Finnish gaming culture, like most others, started with D&D, but then LARPing became huge, and that's why there are actually a lot of women who play role-playing games and tabletop games in Finland, because LARPing brought them in. It's also very well known for video games that it develops. If you play mobile games, Supercell does Clash of Clans and the Clash Royale and all that jazz. Remedy is known for Alan Wake. Angry Birds is from Finland, and many others. Finnish gaming culture is really strong.
Can I ask a question about how did you get into gaming? Like young Tuomas or Tuomas?
Okay, so the 6-year-old Tuomas made a board game that was published in a local magazine. So I think I was kind of destined to become a game designer because I always wanted to create games. But of course, when I graduated, there were no games companies. So I just wrote game design articles and tactics articles for Warhammer Online. And then Jervis Johnson from Games Workshop started reading them and really liked them. So they sent me a plane ticket for an interview and offered me a job. I have to warn you, nowadays you can't get a job that way. It's very unusual.
So you say you work on both video games and traditional sort of board games. Did it sort of happen in a certain order? Did you begin with one and then go into the other?
Yeah.
Like, how do they sort of feed off of each other? Did one lead to the other, or was it like a simultaneous?
No, I started with Games Workshop, so I did
Yeah.
tabletop games for 6 years plus. Then moving into video games, because it was just growing and the Bridgesoft was still going very strong, there were just a lot of opportunities there, and I had a family. So it was more to do with the fact that I saw a chance for my career to grow there and to take better care of my family. And then as the video game industry moved more and more into North America, I followed it because I got a job from Electronic Arts.
Yeah.
So it was more to do with the opportunities that just happened at the time, rather than me as a young lad having a plan.
No grand
It's
plan.
it's much. They say that life makes much more sense looking backwards, but you have to live it forwards.
Yeah. And in terms of when developing video games as opposed to tabletop games, would you say there's like transferable skills, or is it entirely different? Is it like, do you approach it the same way, or do you have like video game brain and tabletop brain and you have to switch?
Highly transferable.
Yeah.
Like when you are writing fiction or lore,
Yeah.
it's almost the same. When you are designing game mechanics, very, very close, because at the end of the day, even if your game is a real-time video game, in reality, all games are turn-based. Things have to happen in some order, and you have to determine things like damage and whatnot. They are all done in a similar fashion using mathematics and numbers, both in video games and on tabletop games.
Yeah.
If you want to be a level designer or a technical designer, you have to learn programming.
Yes.
But I'm a game mechanics and a world crafting guy. So for me, the change was relatively minor. And of course, there is people management on both jobs. And I was game director and a design director for many companies. So that is something, how to manage creative people is very similar for both.
Yeah. And so the lore of Trench Crusade is very sort of, it's very grimdark, obviously. It's very this gothic sort of, all this religious imagery. Is that sort of a style that you carry on through your other work, or is that unique to this project? On like the other projects, like video game stuff, is it a similar vibe? Is that like your signature style, or is it radically different?
I mean, obviously, mainstream video games can't go as dark as Trench Crusade.
Yeah.
Because they want to keep their ratings to PG-13 and
Sure.
they avoid R-rated games because they want to maximize sales. But I worked on Mordheim with John Blanche and lots of other creative people like Karl Kopinski. And that game became on tabletop kind of my calling card.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed working on it. And then years later, when Mike Francina and James approached me, if you ask Mike for his favorite artist, it's John Blanche, and I think you can see the influence in his work. And both of us were working for big mainstream companies, and he was working on games like Diablo. And he felt that Diablo is too kiddified, it's too not dark enough.
Yeah.
So he wanted to do something really dark, and I enjoy it's the work in grim dark space. So we decided to do it as a side project. But we didn't even dream that it would become such a gigantic hit it became.
Yeah, no, it really did blow up. Yeah, it was massive.
And I remember that you had a presentation about like the 10 mistakes, right? How you grew, and that was kind of a plan in the beginning. Did you have a vision for how Trench Crusade would become what it is today, initially, or did it just happen as things just progressed?
No, I mean, Kickstarters who we raised, I think, 6 million. But that is, of course, only the beginning because the game's been selling since then.
Yes.
It happens so rarely that it's pointless to plan for it. Especially since we had no money to do any advertising. And most of big Kickstarter campaigns, advertising is part of the project. So it was even more unlikely that it went the way it did. You can't really plan for that because you're wasting your time. So we just focused on trying to make a game we really wanted to make, and if only 100 people backed it, we wouldn't have cared because we could get to make a game that made us happy.
Okay. So what is the unique selling point with Trench Crusade, in your opinion?
For the success, you mean?
Yeah, success, why people love it so much, because there's a clear obsession about the game, right?
Yeah. Well, you need, I'll give you two answers. Creatively, you need 4 things in a great tabletop game. You need great art, and we were super lucky. We had Mike and other great artists like the Paul Bonner, is the John Blanche, people who normally, Mark Gibbons, you don't get if you are not a big company. But since they wanted to, we knew them, they were my old friends, they wanted to work with us. You need great miniatures. Because the end user and the fan doesn't really care about your difficulties. But again, we were super lucky that we attracted the kind of talent we attracted, and they were willing to work with the prices we could pay. You need great rules and great lore. And I don't want to beat my own drum, but the proof is in the pudding. Like you said, people are quite obsessed, so sometimes you capture lightning in the bottle.
Definitely.
Yeah. And if you get all those, I think you can create a game that the people obsess about. Then, from the success point of view, looking back, I think one of the biggest decisions we made was that the core rules have to fit 2 pages. So, one of the biggest problems I see new games having is that you have to read a huge book before you can play it. In Trench Crusade, you have to glance at 2 pages. And you can start playing, but the game has the depth. So, and that is very easy to say, but as a game designer, very difficult to execute, to create something like that. And I think this has allowed a lot of people to try the game, fall in love with it and start playing. While I see a lot of good games, but I look at it and say, you're going to lose people because the more obstacles you put, the fewer people will play the game in the end. Same thing, our rules are free, you don't have to pay for them. So people are buying the book like crazy, but you can download all the rules and lore for free on our website. And we told from the beginning, it's a mini agnostic. If you, we will provide miniatures, but you only buy them if you want to. Yeah. So this meant the barrier of entry was very low. If you had some miniatures, and most people have some who are in tabletop games, you could just start playing. Yeah. So the barrier of entry was very low. So that gave people a chance to fall in love with the game, rather than you going, I have to read 600 pages. I have to buy a book. I have to buy only these miniatures. You're losing so many people along the way that in the end you will have very small group.
Yeah. And still at Adepticon, the first day, the queue to the book, you guys sold out, right?
Oh yeah, we did.
Like the first 2 hours, they sold out of the book, and
yeah.
And it's free.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, personally, I'm not like a wargaming person, but when I heard about Trench Crusade, I think this is more of an observation than a question, but the lore is so rich and so, because it's so rooted as like an alternate timeline sort of thing, we already have a base knowledge of like First World War and like trench warfare and like the religions that it's based upon. I think when I first saw it, I was like, I want to learn more. Yeah. I'm like, this may be the game that convinces me to start wargaming, because 40k lore, it's so big, I don't want to pick that up. But this is something that's like based on something I'm already familiar with, but it's a little bit twisted, a little bit different. It's like an alternate timeline, and at least for me, I thought that was just really cool. I mean, really cool. I won't say any rude words. That's really cool. And
somebody swears.
Yes. I was getting carried away. Yeah. But I think that really resonated with a lot of people. Do you think have you had that sort of feedback that it's the lore that's really been grabbing people?
Yeah. I mean, you have different kinds of fans. Some already followed Mike and it was for the art, but the lore has been a huge part of it. And I think the fact that it is set in an alternate timeline of our world, when you see people, when they see a map of Trench Crusade, the first thing they want to find out is what's happening at home.
Yes.
And that's very powerful. Yeah. It is risky as well, because if you're dealing with other cultures and other countries, it's very easy if you don't do your research, do something that's really disrespectful and moronic and stupid. So you have to do a lot of legwork. Like if you're going to write about, like I give you an example, when I wrote the law for Finland, that's easy for me. I'm a Finn. I know my country. And of course, I know Christianity, I know Europe. But the further away you go, the more work you have to do. And the more experts you should contact. You know the classic tale is that your friend gets a cool Chinese tattoo. And then your Chinese friend says, it says Kung Pao chicken. Why did you get a tattoo of Kung Pao chicken? You can do very stupid things if you don't do research. So I think doing the research and the real world, that is what draws a lot of people in the lore. I mean, obviously, I am proud what I wrote, so the hopefully it's engaging and the people are like it grabs them.
So just on the lore, because I was at Adepticon last year and I saw your keynote presentation, and what came across was your in-depth knowledge about history and the obsession, because it must be part of like what you find fascinating. Is that always been a thing for you to kind of go in depth in history, or was it more like a task? I need to know this lore in order to write, or this history to write the best lore possible.
No, I was always obsessed with history. I had a greatest history teacher, is the Erkki Leimo, thank you, who when he started teaching us about the Roman legions, he asked, class, why did the Romans defeat their barbarians who were bigger and had longer swords? And then he said, I'll tell you. He grabbed the triangle ruler that the teachers had, and the teacher's stick, he cut it. They had sword swords, so he cut it, and then he jumped on the teacher's table, and the legionnaires would stand shield wall, and they would stab the barbarians, and there was 3 legionnaires against everyone, and I was just, this is so amazing. Good teachers are important. But yes, that started a lifelong obsession with history, which really helps when writing a game like Trench Crusade.
And it's not just the lore being based in our world and in real history acting to remove a barrier to entry, but I think also, obviously we are MyMiniFactory, but the 3D printable side of it all as well, that's a huge, for me, wanting to get started into wargaming, I look at the prices of some other games and it's just so huge, and it's I'm going to have to spend so much money to get into this, but like you say, the rules are free, and the whole decision to have it 3D printable,
Yeah.
that's so easy to get into. Yeah.
I believe in multiple points of entry.
Yeah.
So people are in different places of their lives. Some people, like if they have little kids, they might not want to have a 3D printer at home because resin, whatnot, and the ventilation. Some people are really into 3D printing, and it's the price, like you said, and the ability to convert and customize it on the model on the go and then print it. I believe that the more pathways to the hobby you offer, the broader your player base. It is a tactic to limit yourself that you have to play with our miniatures and that's it. And I'm not. Everybody does different. I don't know the conditions of every company, but I like to make it as easy as possible to play Trench Crusade. And we definitely, the 3D printing community has been very important to us. Because you get a lot of people who are very invested in it and they do amazing things. At the same time, we do no plastics as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to do 3D printing, you just want to buy a box, you do that. It's you want to sculpt your own miniatures. Awesome. Because at the end of the day, those people are quite small in number. They can be very inspirational to others. So I believe in multiple paths into the game.
And you guys, I think you're pioneering collaborations, right? So official Trench Crusade license collaborations. You did one with Westphalia,
Yeah.
Creature Caster,
Yep.
and you have a roadmap as well, right?
Yeah. And we've especially now done for a smaller indies, we've done what we call the compatible with Trench Crusade. So you get our official stamp that these work great with us. You can use, there's our logo as part of that. And if we like them, is as we do, if we give them a license, we often push them ourselves, and we don't take any money from the indies. They give 100%. We just want to check the models that there is nothing illegal or it's just a copy of our model. Because obviously we are not. If somebody just pirates our model, we are not going to give you the license. Why would we? So I believe this allows even if the people just get it from the indie. First of all, I'm happy to support indies, and second of all, they still might get another warband and they will start playing the game. I believe it's not a zero-sum game. I believe these thriving indies doing the stuff for us with license grows the pie, and there is more for everybody. For them, for us, for the guys like MyMiniFactory, who often you collaborate with the people like that they can get their STLs or 3D printed files. So a lot of companies shun that, but we've tried to embrace it. And of course a big collaboration like with Creature Caster or Westphalia, that's a lot of work. So those ones you won't see as often because that's a ton of work. But we are accepting the people's models for review for the license today and tomorrow and hopefully for future.
So this kind of almost like an open source approach, right, to gaming. Do you think this is the future of gaming, or because you have big companies, let's say like Games Workshop, who are completely centralized, which works really well for them and brings new people in because you have more control of the IP? Well, open sourcing it, could make it a bit more less controlled from a creative standpoint.
I think different companies need different approaches. If you are a publicly traded huge company, then the pressure from the shareholders will be to maximize profits, and doing something like this isn't for a big established company or somebody like Gundam. Right? Humongous. So I think you need to find as a company what works for you. I'm not going to hear badmouth any other company. I don't know their circumstances, but I do think we will probably see more companies doing what we are doing. Because you also, if you're a smaller company, how many miniatures can you sculpt? While if you open it up for indies, there is much more choice for your players.
Do you have a particular favorite part of the lore and the world you've created? Is there a favorite warband, a favorite detail of your world, something that you wrote, you came up with, and was like, I'm particularly proud of that thing?
In the entire game?
Yeah.
Let me think. There are so many. if there is a one thing I really like, it's the rules for the assassins, because I wanted to give them the time warping powers. But of course, when you're playing a turn-based game, it's very difficult to simulate how you bend time. So I'm quite proud that I came up with the rules that make that feeling, like when they charge, they can charge two people at the same time. And then you can decide after you make your attacks, where do you end up in the timeline.
Nice.
So this was something I'm quite proud of, course, trying to simulate time in a game where you freeze the time between actions is not easy.
Yeah, no, that's a smart way of approaching it, yeah. In terms of like, outside of mechanics, same question, but outside of mechanics, in terms of like the lore, do you have like a favorite like warband, favorite faction, like favorite characters?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there are many of them.
Yeah.
If I'm very proud of our work with the Iron Sultanate. It's as it is not easy to tackle a subject that's not your culture and not your country. And I relied a lot on the experts and the people from the culture to help me out. And it's really heartening to me to see, like, we have a lot of Turkish players, which is not very common for a miniature war game. I'm very proud of the Ethiopian faction, but my favorite faction of all is I'm a very big fan of New Antioch, because a common man with a rifle, because I was a soldier in the Finnish army, and I have a huge affinity. And to me, not what makes the game work is that you have the just standard guy with a rifle, and then you have this monstrous war wolf. Because that makes it so much more heroic that he's facing something so much more powerful and being brave and fighting against.
Yeah, it's like the low tech of the warfare from that sort of 1914 era. Sort of, it's like it's similar to like War of the Worlds, where it's like you've got this great big oppressive alien tech versus people who are just, the technology is just from the past. It just isn't going to hold up. But no, that's, I think, like I was saying, I love the lore, and I think that's part of it as well. That sort of like mismatch of like historical, because it's not just real, but it's almost like it's a historical as well in a way.
A lot of it is. A lot of it is like you look at the weapons, the names, a lot of the armor, the helmets, the gas mask. Whenever we can, we try to draw from the real world history to give it that feel of believability and immersion. Because if you have a gun that's like a sausage with a balloon and a umbrella, I mean, it's inventive, maybe creative, but it's very hard to believe in it.
So I have a slightly different questions, more about yourself. We've hung out a couple of times, and once we went to the gym, right? It was me, you, Gaz from War Games Atlantic, and Dave, and you absolutely destroyed my biceps with that exercise with the lean and the straight arm. So you strike me as a man with like a lot of passion, obsession, a lot of discipline. Is that always been the case? Trying to balance kind of work life with training and keeping fit and healthy.
I mean, this job is the games industry in general can be very bad for your health. You're on your desk, hunch over, poor miniature painters, doing this for the entire workday. Especially if you're tall, it's even harder, your knees, your back. And I've had to carry several people to ambulance course from work because their body just gave up. And that's been to me always in my mind that you have to, gaming is my top passion. But if I don't take care of my health, I can't do the job I love. So I am absolutely strict discipline, at least 4 or 5 times a week. Train with weights, do cardio, do martial arts. And the older I get, the happier I am about doing it, because it's been, to me, a little bit a sad few years from the point of view that a lot of people I work with who are my age or maybe a little bit older, they've got a deal, and unfortunately, like Wayne England is dead, Colin is dead, the founder of the wargaming in many ways, Brian Ansell, is gone, and unfortunately, not every one of them treated their body with care. They were so obsessed with their job. I am just as obsessed. I just know that I can't do this if I don't take care of my body.
Yeah, agreed, right? Like your body needs to be, it's your temple, right?
Yeah.
It's your vehicle, right? To whatever, but So this discipline, have you always been this disciplined then in terms of, since you were younger, did you do sports? How did you, because you seem to have a lot of hobbies. That's what I'm trying to
So
discuss.
I came from a very academic family. Like the funny thing is my mother has a knighthood for her literary achievements. She's a Lady of the White Rose. In Finland we don't have hereditary. You can't, if my father is noble, you're not noble, but you can be ennobled by the president for your services to the country. So I came from a very bookish family, but there was nobody that was into physical side. But when I was 16, I saw an ad for a martial arts school, and there were two. The Englishmen is the Jimmy and Mike. It's the black British guys, awesome guys, who I really got into martial arts under their leadership. And then there were people in there who did both martial arts and the gym, and they got me into gym, and I fell in love with that. And since that time, I've been like always training. Say, and the older I get, the more important it gets.
Yeah, agreed, right?
Yeah.
It helps you wake up in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Especially during conventions.
Oh yes.
Do you keep a training schedule as well during conventions, or try that?
No, it's in conventions I give myself a pass.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be super tired. And all these fans, they travel all over the world. Like there were people here who said that we had to pool our money in our gaming club so we could bring a book for you to sign. I have to put as much of my time and effort into meeting them and talking to them. They are the ones who support me. And I am so disciplined all the other times. In the conventions, I give myself a pass and spend as much time as I can with the players.
Yeah, makes sense.
Loosely connected. It's a very tenuous link going from health back to an earlier topic.
Yeah.
Because it's a physical thing. Nebo's going to groan when I bring this up, but you said that Finland has a very big LARP scene. Both Nebo and myself are LARPers. We LARP here in the UK. Have you ever given it a try yourself? Is that something that you've ever done?
Yeah. I mean, Nordic LARPs, as LARPers,
Yeah.
They are famous.
Yes, of course.
I'm not a big LARper because I left Finland to work for Games Workshop just when it was getting humongous. But I've been into LARPs. I've helped some LARP organizers with the writing. And I'm always in D&D. I'm always the DM.
Yeah.
I really like that role. I am much more of a game designer and DM than a player. Don't get me wrong, I love playing. But I love being a DM or being a game designer even more.
Yeah. And like the thing about Trench Crusade, like have you seen an uptick in like Trench Crusade cosplay? Or do you think like one day that could eventually form into like a Trench Crusade based LARP event? Because since it's based in real world, you could very easily find locations like an old like ruined church or something but you could set the whole event there, everyone in full costumes, practical effects. I think it could translate really nicely to that sort of thing.
I believe some people already have done that, and they are also doing like a paintballing with the Trench Crusade
Amazing.
outfit. And I'm waiting for that we have been contacted by LARP groups who want to run it, and we've been happy to give them the license.
Yeah.
And I do expect that sooner or later some big LARP group will get together and they do a big one. I love the cosplays, and what I love about it is that if you're not a super master crafter, you can still do just going to a military surplus shop. You can get a very good Trench Crusade cosplay without having to break the bank or be a super good at crafting. And also 3D printing. We have our friends like Galactic Armory. You can get the Saleh helmet printed out. 3D printing is big now on the LARPing scene. I love it. I love craftsmanship. Those people who can do it, I worship you, but not everybody is that good.
Yeah.
So when did you find this love of creating worlds, right? Was that at an early age? Like when was what was your first world, essentially?
I think it was when I read a Lord of the Rings when I was 12. And this is probably a very common story.
Sure.
And it just absolutely blew my mind that something this incredible could exist. And then after that, I got into D&D. I started creating my own world for our campaign. I discovered Warhammer as well. But I was always the person who would create my own stories, my own nations, my own cities, my own people. So I think it was Tolkien who brought me to even to the concept that you can craft worlds. And I got early enough, because as you know, your formative years are quite young. So he got me just in the right time that I was already smart enough that I could do something with that, but not so old that I couldn't sort of learn that craft from young age.
And what was your first paid job as a world crafter, world creator?
Games Workshop. I did the Kislevites army for Citadel Journal. That's the first one where, because they didn't really have, like I invented the units, the characters, the special characters, the history, and they didn't yet have that for games at Games Workshop. So it's now quite fun to see that they are doing Kislev and which bits they took from what I wrote and the new stuff they come up with. So it's nice to see you're sort of part of this the shared story crafting.
And do you remember that feeling that this is going to be my life, my work going forward, from just being a hobby, right, to actually being a career?
When you are that young, you don't really often think that way. I was just excited to create, and also I think not adult enough yet to think of a career. I just wanted to make games and be creative, and only later on, once I matured a little bit, I started thinking maybe a bit more strategically. Who do I want to work for next? What is the project I want to take? But also, when you're very young, you can't just march to a Wizards of the Coast and say, right, I'm going to write the next edition of D&D. And they're going to say, no, you're not. It's you kind of have to use the opportunities you get. It takes time before you get into the driving seat of your career.
So we're approaching the end of our time window, so we're going to wrap up shortly. But before you go, is there anything that you wanted to is anything new coming up? Anything particular you wanted to pitch or plug? Or is it just buy Trench Crusade?
I mean, obviously buy Trench Crusade. If you like it, you don't have to.
Yeah, sure.
Check us out, www.trenchcrusade.com. But what I want to encourage everybody to do is be creative. This hobby is prime for it. Painting, converting, sculpting, writing. This is what I want to encourage. Take the jump if you haven't. Nothing wrong if you simply enjoy the collecting side. I'm not, and reading.
Yeah.
I am not telling you off, but the whatever part is of the hobby is the allow yourself to enjoy it and be creative.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for
No
taking
problem.
the time to chat with us.
No problem. That's
Thank you.
fine.
Cheers.
Good fun.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah.